from a real tiny studio, high atop a big old building, located at 33.6 degrees north latitude, 85.83 degrees west longitude, and broadcasting to planet Earth. This is the Scott and Tim Show.
Welcome back into the Scott and Tim Show, the fastest 3 hours on all of your radio. I am Scott Chambers.
And I am Tim Sutton. We're about to wrap it up, but you can always check us out for more on scottandtimshow.com.
Tim, before we get out of here, it's time to dig to Bottom of the News Pile. It's all the news that is the news that makes the news, as Tim is shuffling the newspapers like the newsmen on TV. Hand me that one right there. I like that story.
That's a good one there.
Dateline, Cleveland, Ohio. A woman who found a fawn, a baby deer, for those of you that don't understand what a fawn is. A lady found a baby deer in her flower garden.
And for those of you in Alabama, that's deers.
Deers, yes, deers.
D-E-E-R-S.
For our good buddies in the state of Alabama.
I just wanted to make sure my girlfriend's mother understood.
Yes, an Ohio woman who found a fawn in her flower garden has been accused of beating it to death with a shovel. Dorothy Richardson, who was 75 years old, was charged in a warrant with animal cruelty at her home near the Cleveland Metropolitan's Reservation. It's a wooded part where deer, fox, and other wildlife roam. Animal Control Officer Ann Mills requested the warrant and says everyone is upset by the baby deer being shoveled to death.
Hang on a minute, Scott. Deer kill people every year. But this was a fawn.
This was a little baby.
A little bitty baby.
It was eating flowers in her garden, so this old hag, she goes out, 75 years old, and beats the crap out of it and kills it with a shovel.
Talk about Grandma Butcher. Good Lord.
Granny the deer killer now faces up to 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine.
Hey, could you imagine? So what are you in here for? Well,
I shot my ex-husband Ross. He was cheating on me.
Well, I took a shovel and beat the hell out of a deer. A little deer. He's eating my damn flowers.
I told him to stay out of the marigolds. Oh, my God. This granny beat. Would you want to leave your grandkids or your children with this lady?
Could you imagine watching their grandkids sitting around watching Bambi and then looking out the window? You know, it's bad enough when Bambi's daddy gets shot, but then to look out the window and see your grandma beating the hell out of a little doe outside.
I've just got an imagination that this is a granny who smokes about a pack a day of Marlboros, drinks a 6-pack of Bud a day, and would kick someone's butt.
Exactly.
That's what she reminds me of.
Oh, yeah.
How about another one? Dateline, Savannah, Georgia. 2 inmates at the Chatham County Jail in coastal Georgia got burned by their own smoking habit, Tim Sutton, when they started a fire trying to light a handmade cigarette with a spark from an electrical socket. So let's pretty much set this up here. 2 inmates find some tobacco, they roll it up in a paper, they're going to make a handmade cigarette. Now they need to light it. Now, first of all, they're not genius anyway. They're not at that level yet. They're not Einstein, or they wouldn't be behind bars. They decide they're going to go stick their cigarette.
Hang on a minute. Before then, though, just think about all the other things that came into mind before the light socket.
Oh, yeah.
They were probably had the corner of the bed, kicking it against the wall, trying to make marks and sparks and stuff off the wall.
You know that was not their first choice.
That was not their, because good and well, they looked at each other going, I'm not sticking my hand in that.
All right, Walter, here's what we're going to do. Today at lunch, I'm bringing some toothpicks back. We'll hold them in our teeth, like all the Bubbas do. Now we're going to rub our toothpicks together, and we're going to create a spark and light us that cigarette.
He goes, and then, Jim Bob, I can do better than that. I grabbed this fork, and if we strike the fork against your zipper while I hold the cigarette close, we might get a spark that way.
Ridiculous.
And then, what happens then? They both go, toothpick, fork, light socket.
So
I just want to know who had the, when you smoke, I don't really smoke, but if you don't puff on it,
it goes out.
It goes out.
Right,
so
right.
I want to know who had their face down there trying to puff on it while they were getting the spark.
They decided to stick it in an electrical socket and try to create a spark to art the cigarette. They ended up setting their cell on fire. And this is not the first time they've been in trouble. They've been in trouble before. They normally stick a pencil lead into a wall socket in their cell. That creates a spark, and they will smoke anything from lettuce, collard greens, turnip greens, whatever they were served at lunch that day, they'll smoke it.
So they're not even getting a tobacco high.
We're smoking collard greens.
These are quality inmates here.
Hey, Jim, hand me a smoke. What do you got? Collard greens?
No, I wanted Caesar salad today, damn it.
I mean, come on.
That's not my preference.
This is ridiculous. So that's bottom of the news pile. What idiots. They wouldn't be in jail anyway if they didn't have a problem. Now, Tim, wrapping up bottom of the news pile here, before we go, quickly at the top of the show, and we didn't get to it today, you talked about going on vacation with your girlfriend's family. And I figured that was bottom of the news pile.
I was trying to let it slide out the door, but I figured I'd let it in. It was definitely a trip with the Griswolds. It started the day before, and, you know, these guys, I love them to death, but they're not exactly the most intelligent. It's not that they're not individually smart. It's just when they get together, they turn into complete crazies. But all that aside, we went on to the restaurant and went out to eat at this local restaurant down there. And right off the bat, Scott, there is a woman there that looks freaking identical to my mom. I'm talking splitting image. I thought it was my mom. And she was the owner of the restaurant. Well, we go in and eat.
Were you eating at a Korean restaurant again?
No, it wasn't. It was actually a crab shack. I was very impressed that, that Oriental people could actually have another restaurant other than a Chinese restaurant.
I thought all they made was kimchi and soup.
Exactly. I was the same way, But anyways, we go in, we're sitting down eating, we all decide we're going to have some adult beverages.
Right.
It turns into a freaking circus. I get some crab legs, and her little 16-year-old brother decides he's going to make a pterodactyl claw out of one of the big claws of my crab. You know how you can break them and you make them move, the pincher move?
Yes.
And he's going nuts with it. Everybody's watching, and then Sue decides she's going to get her a drink as well. So I purchase her a drink and get it over there, and she starts drinking on it, and... Well,
oh, God. So now there's alcohol
Everything
involved.
turns happy then. You know what I mean? Everything's crazy.
So
it was actually a great trip, but I tell you, I didn't think we were ever going to make it, Scott.
Well, that's you made it home all in one piece, even though you went with Mr. and Mrs. Dam and the whole damn family. Y'all rolled into town. Is Pensacola Beach safe today?
It is. Actually, Navarre Beach is safe. We actually didn't even make it to Pensacola. We just went to Navarre.
Well, I'm sorry. We pretty much just ran out of time, but we can talk about the rest of it coming up on tomorrow's program.
How about that? Yeah, we'll talk about it. I'll add a little more. Don't maybe even get her brother to come in with her little crabby friend.
That's quite okay. Don't forget, check us out online, ScottandTimShow.com. Tim, final thoughts before we go.
Well, guys, before we go, remember to keep it between the ditches, but be reckless and think for yourself.
And I am Scott Chambers saying, never forget where you come from. If so, you might not find your way back home. We're out of here!
Today's broadcast cannot be reused, retransmitted, or redistributed in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But then ask yourself, why would I want to do that? Scott and Tim have left the building. Until next time, this is your friendly, underpaid, underappreciated announcer saying, the cleaning crew better be here with a bucket load of air freshener, because trust me, mic number 1 smells like a cow's behind. And I am out of here.